A rapid response force of 2,000 US Marines and sailors are on their way to the waters off the coast of Israel, part of an escalating show of force by the United States in the region aimed at preventing further escalation of the conflict between Israel and Hamas. In addition to the Marine force, more US warships and troops are converging on Israel as a message of deterrence to Iran and Hezbollah. US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has ordered approximately 2,000 troops to prepare for a potential deployment to Israel. Their role would involve tasks such as medical and logistical support. These steps are taken to prevent a broader regional war while avoiding direct military involvement in the Israel-Hamas conflict. It's important to note that the US doesn't have plans to put American troops in direct combat in the Israel-Hamas conflict. Instead, their assistance may focus on logistical and medical support, which could be crucial, especially if Israel launches a ground invasion of Gaza, a scenario that experts warn could be complex and costly. These decisions coincide with the US military's efforts to increase its presence in the Middle East, including deploying an additional aircraft carrier to the eastern Mediterranean Sea and sending Air Force fighter jets to the region. So, when did the US start their involvement with Israel? In response to the October 7th attack by Hamas, the United States swiftly initiated the movement of warships and aircraft to the region to be prepared for any assistance Israel might require. Additional ships and forces were en route to Israel last Tuesday, and American troops within the US were readying for potential deployment if the need arises. Currently, one US aircraft carrier and its strike group are stationed in the eastern Mediterranean, and a second carrier is en route from the United States. Furthermore, 3 Marine warships are in transit to the region. Numerous aircraft have been dispatched to US military bases across the Middle East, and American Special Operations Forces are collaborating with the Israeli military on planning and intelligence. As of last Tuesday, 5 shipments of US weapons and equipment had been delivered to Israel. The rapid buildup reflects mounting concerns in the United States that the ongoing conflict between Hamas and Israel may escalate into a wider regional confrontation. Therefore, the primary objective for American naval and aerial assets is to establish a substantial and visible presence to deter potential actions by Hezbollah, Iran, or other actors seeking to exploit the situation. It's important to know exactly what has happened so far between Israel and Hamas. The conflict between Israel and Hamas has reached a critical point, with a recent series of events leading to significant casualties and hostage situations. It all began when the Palestinian militant group Hamas launched a surprise attack from Gaza, resulting in more than 1,400 casualties and hostages. In response, Israel initiated a heavy bombardment of the Gaza territory, which Palestinian authorities claim has caused thousands of deaths. This escalation of violence has left many people in Gaza in dire need of humanitarian assistance. In a shocking move, militants from Gaza fired thousands of rockets into Israeli towns on October 7th. They managed to breach the heavily secured border fence with Israel, sending armed militants deep into Israeli territory. This invasion resulted in over 1,400 deaths, including civilians and soldiers, and the taking of more than 200 hostages, marking a grave incident in the ongoing conflict. This attack by Hamas was unprecedented in both tactics and scale. Israel hadn't faced opponents in street battles on its own territory since the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, and such a terror attack on this scale had never occurred before, resulting in a high civilian casualty count. Hamas labeled this operation as the Al-Aqsa Storm, citing it as a response to what they saw as Israeli attacks on women, the desecration of the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, and the ongoing siege of Gaza. Israel declared war in response, launching Operation Swords of Iron, targeting what it claims are Hamas and Islamic Jihad facilities in Gaza, and blocking supply lines for necessities, including fuel and water. The situation in Gaza is dire, with residents told to leave their homes for safety. However, due to the ongoing conflict, some believe there is no safe place to go, and crossings out of Gaza have been sealed. The situation is further complicated by the hostages held by Hamas. The group has claimed that some hostages have been killed in Israeli bombings, though Israel has not confirmed or denied this. Hamas recently released a video featuring one of the hostages, a 21-year-old French-Israeli woman named Skem, pleading to be returned to her family. Hamas has urged Gazans not to leave their homes, accusing Israel of psychological warfare by calling for evacuations. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is worsening rapidly, with warnings of starvation due to Israel's tightening restrictions on the territory. Gaza is one of the most densely populated places on Earth, home to around 2 million people in a small area. It has been under blockade since Hamas seized control in 2007. The blockade, enforced by Israel and Egypt, continues to this day, causing severe hardships for the population. The situation in Gaza is deteriorating rapidly, with the power stations ceasing to operate, hospitals running out of fuel, and the risk of a humanitarian catastrophe looming. The conflict between Israel and Hamas has a long history, marked by several wars and periodic escalations. The recent events have added to the ongoing tensions, both within the region and internationally. As this conflict unfolds, there are concerns of it spilling over into other areas, particularly the occupied West Bank, where tensions are high, and violence has escalated since the October 7th attack. There are also concerns about the broader regional implications, given the close ties between Hamas, Iran, and Lebanon's Hezbollah, all of which have anti-Israel policies. US officials have warned of the risk of a wider regional conflict in the Middle East. The impact of this conflict is already being felt beyond Gaza, affecting the Lebanese border with Israel and the occupied West Bank. Hezbollah, backed by Iran, has expressed strong support for Palestinian militants, leading to tensions with Israel. Iran, also believed to be backing Hamas, has denied involvement in the October 7th attack while warning Israel against targeting its allies in Lebanon. As the situation continues to evolve, the international community remains deeply concerned about the humanitarian crisis and the potential for further escalation in this long-standing and volatile conflict. Looking back to the US involvement, their troops have been preparing, and this is how. The Pentagon has exercised extreme caution in its discussions concerning the potential deployment of US troops to Israel, and this careful approach stems from the Biden administration's strong desire not to create the impression that American forces might become entangled in a heated conflict. Nevertheless, behind this decision lies a series of careful preparations aimed at ensuring that the United States is ready to respond to a variety of scenarios should the situation deteriorate further. The 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit, MEU, is at the forefront of these preparations. The unit currently occupies the USS Bataan, an assault ship currently navigating the waters of the Gulf of Oman. Simultaneously, the USS Carter Hall, a dock landing ship, is accompanying the USS Bataan on its voyage to Israel. It is worth noting that both the USS Bataan and the 26th MEU have been actively operating in the Middle East since August. Their presence is part of a broader effort to deter Iranian aggression in the vital waterways within the region, including the Gulf of Oman and the Strait of Hormuz. Secretary of Defense Austin's directive to prepare troops for a potential deployment, however, does not represent a definitive commitment to send them to Israel. It also does not guarantee their involvement in combat roles if they are deployed. Nevertheless, the Secretary's decision has expedited the readiness of the identified troops, should they be called upon to embark on this mission. The notion of deploying troops to Israel, an event first brought to light by the Wall Street Journal, did not generate extensive details from Pentagon Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh. She simply stated that she was not able to provide further specifics at that time. Should the determination be made to deploy these troops to Israel, they would likely serve in a support capacity. This could encompass a diverse array of elements aimed at rendering the most effective and efficient assistance to the Israeli military. Among these potential elements are command and control units responsible for material management, ensuring the smooth supply of items such as food, fuel, and construction materials. Moreover, a joint munitions unit might be included to facilitate the flow of ammunition. Also, a cooperation capability from the Defense Logistics Agency might come into play, aiding the Israeli military with critical functions such as weapons procurement and other essential operational endeavors. So, let's break down what support the US is deploying even further, focusing more on the specifics of the Navy's ships and planes. In the wake of the October 7th attack, the United States has demonstrated a resolute commitment to safeguarding its interests in the Middle East, with a visible display of military strength in the maritime surroundings of Israel. This show of force serves multiple purposes, ranging from sending a clear message to deterring potential aggressors, and it underscores the nation's unwavering support for its regional allies. At the forefront of this formidable display are an array of massive warships strategically positioned in or en route to the eastern Mediterranean and the Red Sea. These vessels, including the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group, exemplify the United States' proactive response to the evolving regional dynamics. The USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group was dispatched to the eastern Mediterranean with exceptional promptness following the attack. In a significant development, the Pentagon has confirmed the extension of its deployment, initially slated for 6 months, without specifying a definitive end date. This decision highlights the gravity of the situation and the necessity for a sustained US presence in the region. Moreover, in a remarkable demonstration of resolve, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has issued orders for the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group to join the USS Gerald R. Ford in the eastern Mediterranean. Both carrier groups, currently navigating the vast Atlantic Ocean, are on their way to reinforce the US presence in the region. The dispatch of these formidable assets is symbolic of the United States' proactive approach to crisis management. Additionally, the Pentagon has confirmed the deployment of the USS Bataan Ready Group, which comprises 3 ships and carries thousands of Marines from the 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit. This rapid deployment showcases the agility of the US military in responding to rapidly evolving situations. Amidst these developments, the USS Mesa Verde, a transport dock, is positioned in the Mediterranean Sea, signifying the depth of the US military's presence in the region. The Bataan, an assault ship, and the USS Carter Hall, a dock landing ship, were initially stationed in the Gulf region and are now making their way to the Red Sea. These versatile ships are equipped with helicopters and assault craft, making them instrumental in executing a wide range of missions. These capabilities include the insertion of Marines into hostile territories, the provision of medical care, and other forms of essential assistance. The historical track record of warships, particularly aircraft carriers with their complement of fighter jets and surveillance aircraft, stands as evidence to support their effectiveness as deterrents against Iranian and other militant activities in the Middle East. These naval powerhouses serve as critical command and control centers, capable of executing information warfare strategies. In the realm of aerial capabilities, they are equipped with F-18 fighter jets that can conduct deterrence missions or strike designated targets when necessary. Adding another layer of capability, the inclusion of E-2 Hawkeye surveillance planes offers invaluable early warning systems for missile launches and the ability to detect enemy movements promptly. The strategic positioning of these warships is not merely a show of military might, it is a calculated move designed to convey the United States' commitment to regional stability and its resolve to deter any potential hostile actions. In a region where the geopolitical landscape is continually shifting, this overt demonstration of power is a clear indicator of the United States' unwavering support for its allies in the region and its dedication to maintaining vigilance over potential threats. As tensions persist and the complex dynamics of the Middle East continue to evolve, the presence of these challenging naval assets serves as a visible reminder of the US military's readiness to uphold stability and protect the interests of its allies. Moreover, it sends a clear message to potential opponents that any aggressive actions will be met with a resolute response. The United States remains committed in its promise to maintaining regional security and safeguarding its allies in this dynamic and volatile environment. Moving on from warships to the weapon and Air Force warplanes, airlifts loaded with U.S. weaponry have commenced their deliveries to Israel, reinforcing the United States' commitment to assisting its ally in the tumultuous region. This proactive stance was evident as Defense Secretary Austin personally oversaw the unloading of a C-17 transport plane on Friday at the Nevatim Air Base, located east of Gaza. These deliveries are set to intensify, with the Pentagon confirming 5 such shipments have already taken place, and additional deliveries are anticipated. U.S. defense officials divulged that the administration has already supplied Israel with an assortment of armaments, including small-diameter bombs, other munitions, and interceptor missiles for its Iron Dome air defense system. This support is expected to expand further as the United States collaborates with defense companies to further existing weapons orders for Israel. The orders encompass various munitions for the Iron Dome air defense system. These Iron Dome munitions supplied by the US are anticipated to complement Israel's existing orders, becoming an integral part of the ongoing military assistance packages. These packages will include JDAM kits, which essentially consist of a tail fin and a navigation kit, transforming conventional dumb bombs into precision-guided smart munitions capable of precise targeting. In a clear show of support, the United States has also established a specialized unit of Special Operations Forces. This unit operates in close coordination with Israel, offering crucial intelligence and strategic planning. These elite forces extend advice and guidance to the Israeli Defense Forces in hostage recovery missions. It's essential to clarify that these U.S. troops do not partake in the actual execution of hostage rescues, and there are no other U.S. military forces on the ground within Israel. To bolster its capabilities in the region, the Pentagon has made the strategic decision to enlarge existing air squadrons. This expansion is particularly focused on A-10, F-15, and F-16 squadrons stationed at various bases throughout the Middle East. This buildup will be expanded further if the situation necessitates it. Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall, during an event hosted by the Atlantic Council, revealed that the service has ordered units slated to return home to remain in their current locations alongside their replacements. The U.S. Air Force already maintains a robust air power presence in the region, dedicated to conducting both manned and unmanned operations. Notably, it has played a pivotal role in Syria, as evidenced by a recent mission where a U.S. Air Force F-16 was called upon to intercept and neutralize a Turkish drone posing a threat to U.S. ground forces. The United States' proactive stance in reinforcing its military presence and providing vital weaponry highlights its unwavering commitment to regional security. By supplying critical munitions, collaborating on hostage recovery efforts, and bolstering air squadrons, the U.S. endeavors to ensure that its allies are fortified against evolving challenges and potential threats. This firm support demonstrates the United States' dedication to preserving stability in a complex and dynamic region. Sabrina Singh, a spokesperson for the Pentagon, has stated that the Defense Department is currently focused on 3 key priorities in the ongoing situation. First and foremost, they aim to discourage other nations or groups who might consider joining the conflict involving Israel. This strategic effort is designed to prevent the escalation of the situation and maintain regional stability. Another crucial objective is to provide essential security assistance to Israel, a significant American ally in the Middle East. This support is aimed at helping Israel protect itself and address its defense requirements effectively. It emphasizes the strong partnership between the United States and Israel in the region. Furthermore, the Defense Department is maintaining a high level of vigilance to identify and address any safety threats that may arise for U.S. forces due to the unrest in the region. This proactive approach ensures the safety and security of American military personnel stationed in the area. Singh emphasized that the primary goal of these actions is to send a message of discouragement intended to dissuade potential opponents from escalating the conflict further, contributing to regional peace and stability. General Michael Eric Kurilla, the top commander responsible for U.S. military operations in the Middle East, engaged in a discussion with Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, Israel's chief of defense, and other senior officials in Tel Aviv. During this exchange, General Kurilla sought to gain a comprehensive understanding of Israel's defense requirements and outlined the U.S. support efforts aimed at preventing the conflict from expanding. The Department of Defense repeated its untiring support for Israel in this challenging period. Both U.S. and Israeli officials have made it clear that they do not anticipate U.S. forces becoming directly involved in the conflict. The Biden administration faces a complex balancing act as it deals with the Israeli crisis alongside other global priorities, including the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and the increasing assertiveness of the Chinese military in the Pacific region. President Biden addressed this challenge, expressing confidence in the United States' capacity to manage multiple issues simultaneously. In a recent 60 Minutes interview, President Biden stated, "We're the United States of America, for God's sake, the most powerful nation in history. Not in the world, in the history of the world. We can take care of both of these and still maintain our overall international defense." Regarding the number of U.S. personnel in the region before and after the Hamas attack, Central Command has not provided specific information in response to inquiries. The status of U.S. personnel in the region remains undisclosed. Looking more widely at the Middle East, Iranian proxies appear to be stepping up threats as tensions rise on Israel's border with Lebanon. Western officials have expressed increasing concern about the potential for a regional spillover from the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. This concern has been amplified by repeated drone attacks targeting U.S. forces in the region, including incidents in Iraq. Recent developments indicate that Israel may be preparing for a significant ground offensive in Gaza, while tensions have been escalating along Israel's border with Lebanon. Iranian-backed groups have been intensifying their threats and actions in the region. One such incident involved an attack on the Ain al-Assad airbase in western Iraq, which hosts US and other international forces. Drones and missiles targeted the base, resulting in multiple explosions. The Iraqi military subsequently closed off the area for a search operation. As of now, it remains unclear whether these attacks caused casualties or damage. In addition to this, another military base hosting US forces near Baghdad's international airport was hit by rockets. These incidents have raised concerns about the safety of US military personnel in the region. On a separate occasion, US forces in Iraq were targeted in 2 separate drone attacks, with one leading to minor injuries among a small number of troops. The US military was able to intercept one of the armed drones. A drone attack in Syria resulted in minor injuries to US forces, and another drone was successfully brought down. Notably, the USS Carney, a US Navy destroyer in the northern Red Sea, intercepted 3 land attack cruise missiles and multiple drones launched by Houthi forces in Yemen. While it was suggested that these missiles were potentially aimed at Israel, the exact target remained under assessment. This interception marked a potential involvement of the US military in supporting Israel during the ongoing conflict. The situation in the region has raised significant concerns for countries with peace treaties with Israel, such as Jordan and Egypt, as well as those moving towards normalizing relations with Israel, including some Gulf states. The intensity of Israel's airstrikes in response to Hamas's attack on communities near the Gaza border and the subsequent protests in the region have put governments in a delicate position, forcing them to navigate between public statements and private sentiments. This situation has been exploited by Iran and its proxies in Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen, who have taken a hostile stance, including threats to US forces. The risk of an Israeli ground offensive has further exacerbated tensions, with Iran and its allies appearing ready to respond if such an operation occurs. The US has responded by deploying additional military assets to the region, including 2 aircraft carriers, warships, and Marines. American citizens in Lebanon have been encouraged to leave due to concerns that the violence may spill over, potentially drawing the US into the conflict through attacks on US forces in Iraq and Syria. Overall, the situation remains fluid, with Western officials closely monitoring developments and striving to prevent the conflict from escalating further. The rapid deployment of thousands of troops to an active war zone, especially with a close partner nation, naturally raises alarm, surely keeping everyone on the edge of their seats awaiting what happens next.